Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm 29, and I never thought I'd be telling this story to anyone, let alone to the entire world. But sometimes life twists in ways so cruel, so unexpected, that the only thing left to do is to share it. You see, my life was supposed to be perfect. At least, that's what I thought. I grew up in a small town in Oregon, in a family where birthdays, holidays, and family dinners were sacred. My mom, especially, she loved big celebrations. She believed that milestones weren't just dates, they were proof of love and family unity. When I married Daniel, I thought he fit right into that world. He was charming, charismatic, and he knew exactly what to say to make everyone laugh. My mom adored him, my dad respected him, and honestly, I fell for him so fast it felt like destiny. We met when I was 24. He was working in marketing at the time, ambitious, witty, the kind of man who could walk into a room full of strangers and leave as everyone's favorite. I was instantly hooked. Within 2 years, we got married in this beautiful vineyard, surrounded by friends, family, and everything I thought would last forever. Life after marriage wasn't a fairy tale, but it was ours. We bought a small house. We adopted a dog, Max, a golden retriever who instantly became my baby. We had dreams of traveling, of building a family one day, of growing old together. Sure, there were arguments, but nothing I thought love couldn't fix. I was proud to be Daniel's wife. I wore that title like a badge of honor. People would say, "You two are so good together," and I'd smile, believing it with my whole heart. But here's the thing. Love has blind spots. It makes you ignore the whispers, the late nights, the sudden distance that creeps in like shadows. Looking back, I see the signs now. The text messages he wouldn't explain. The sudden need to work late. The way his eyes stopped lingering on me the way they used to. But nothing could have prepared me for the night my world came crashing down. It was my mom's 60th birthday. We rented out this cozy restaurant in town, strung fairy lights everywhere, had her favorite jazz band playing. She was glowing that night, smiling, laughing, radiating pure joy. I was so proud to be her daughter. And then, in the middle of the celebration, Daniel stood up. He held the mic like he was about to make a toast. My heart melted a little, thinking, wow, he's going to say something sweet about Mom. But instead, he cleared his throat, looked straight at me, and said the words that shattered everything. "Olivia, I can't stay married to you. I've fallen for someone else." The restaurant went silent. Forks clinked down onto plates. My mother's smile froze. I felt my heart physically drop, like it cracked inside my chest. I remember staring at him, waiting for him to say it was a joke, some cruel, stupid joke. But his face was serious. Cold. Final. And that's the moment everything, my marriage, my trust, my sense of who I was, collapsed in front of my entire family. I don't even remember standing up from that chair. My mom's hand was clutching mine so tightly I thought she might never let go. My dad's face turned red, angrier than I'd ever seen him. My younger brother muttered something like, "What the hell is going on?" But his voice sounded far away, muffled, like I was underwater. All I could hear on repeat were Daniel's words. "I can't stay married to you. I've fallen for someone else." I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to throw that glass of red wine right in his smug, calm face. But I just froze. People around us were whispering, eyes darting back and forth like it was a soap opera unfolding live. My mom whispered, "Olivia, honey, let's step outside." But I shook my head. I needed answers. Right then. "Who?" I asked him. My voice cracked, but it was sharp enough to cut through the silence. Daniel didn't look guilty. He didn't look sorry. He just sighed, like I was inconveniencing him by asking. "It doesn't matter. What matters is that I can't keep pretending. I want to live honestly." Honestly? My mind screamed. He had been lying for months, maybe years, and now he wanted to stand here, in front of my mother, of all people, and claim honesty? I pushed. "Who is she?" That's when I noticed the way his eyes flicked, just for a second, across the room. My stomach flipped. I followed his gaze. And that's when I saw her. Sitting 3 tables away, clutching her wine glass so tight her knuckles were white, was Rachel. My best friend. My college roommate. The woman who had stood by my side at my wedding as my maid of honor. My world tilted. At first, I thought my brain was playing tricks on me. But then, Rachel looked up, and when our eyes met, her face said everything Daniel wouldn't. Guilt. Panic. Fear. I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened like someone had wrapped a belt around it. The betrayal hit me in waves. The late nights. The mysterious work trips. The phone calls he wouldn't take in front of me. It all clicked. And the worst part? It had been right under my nose. "You've got to be kidding me," I whispered, my voice trembling. "Rachel? My best friend." Gasps erupted around us. My mom's hand shot to her mouth. My dad muttered a curse under his breath. And Rachel, she couldn't even look at me. Daniel finally spoke, his voice maddeningly calm. "I didn't want you to find out this way, Olivia. But yes, Rachel and I, we're in love." In love. Those 2 words seared into me like fire. He could have said, "We made a mistake." He could have said, "It just happened." But in love? That was deliberate. That was permanent. The room started spinning. I clutched the edge of the table just to steady myself. My own husband. My own best friend. Both of them sitting there like this wasn't the cruelest betrayal imaginable. "Wow," I said, my voice shaking. "So you 2 sneak around behind my back, you lie to me for God knows how long, and now you think you're going to just announce it during my mother's birthday party?" Rachel finally spoke, her voice small and pathetic. "Olivia, please. I didn't mean for it to happen this way. I still love you as a friend." I snapped. "A friend? A friend doesn't sleep with her best friend's husband, Rachel. A friend doesn't smile in my face while stabbing me in the back. Don't you dare call yourself my friend." The tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall in front of them. I needed strength, at least the appearance of it. So I stood tall, even as my insides crumbled. Daniel reached for me, as if touching me would somehow make this better. "Olivia, I'm sorry. But we couldn't hide it anymore. We deserve to be happy." Happy. That word echoed in my head like a slap. What about my happiness? What about the vows we made, the life we built, the years I gave him? Did those mean nothing? And then, as if the universe wasn't done twisting the knife, Rachel whispered something I'll never forget. "We didn't want to hurt you, Liv. But we want to be together. We're even thinking about moving in together soon." My legs nearly gave out. Moving in together. They had already planned a future. Behind my back. While I was still living in the fantasy that my marriage was real. That was the moment I realized they had stolen not just my trust, but my dignity, my memories, my sense of safety. And in that very moment, a tiny spark ignited inside me. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't sorrow. It was rage. Pure, unfiltered rage. And though I didn't know it then, that rage would grow into something sharper, colder, more dangerous. It would become the fuel for my revenge. After that night, the world kept breathing around me, people laughing, toasts clinking, plates being cleared away, and I moved through it like someone in a fog. I said the things people expected, thank yous, polite smiles, nervous jokes about the cake. Inside, I felt like a different person had been folded out of me, and every time I saw Daniel's face, something cold and unfamiliar settled behind my ribs. We went through the motions for a few days. My mom called nonstop, worried and furious, offering to take me to her place, to move my things, to call a lawyer. My dad, uncharacteristically quiet, sat on the porch with his thumbs interlaced, jaw tight, like he was stitching himself back together. Friends texted. My phone buzzed with condolences and outrage, and I read each message twice before setting the phone face down. I slept in the guest room that week, for reasons that felt both dramatic and practical. The master bedroom held their smell, their shared clothes, the imprint of a life that had been. The guest room was neutral, a clean slate. At night, I would lie there, face to the ceiling, listening to the house breathe, and replay the moment in my head until the edges of it dulled from repetition. The thing with betrayal is it doesn't arrive as one single blow. It arrives as 100 tiny cuts that you didn't notice until the blood was pooling. People think revenge is this roaring beast, dramatic confrontations, slamming doors, headlines. Maybe some of it is that. But what I felt was quieter, more measured. It was the cold, methodical realization that if I let this go unanswered, I would be agreeing to the erasure of everything I had built. I wasn't plotting to break anyone. I was planning to preserve myself. The first thing I did was simple and painfully adult. I put the practical things in order. I changed passwords, moved copies of important documents to a locked file, and started compiling dates. That might sound boring, but it reminded me I wasn't helpless. Organizing facts steadied me. There was power in small acts. I told myself I wouldn't be impulsive. Anger makes you act like something you don't respect later. I wanted to be deliberate. I didn't want to humiliate him in front of family and friends for a temporary quick thrill. I wanted clarity, dignity, and protection for me and for whatever future Mia and I would have, whether Daniel was in it or not. I hired a counselor. Not because I thought revenge would fix the hole inside me, but because I needed someone who would hold my rage and show me how to channel it. The first session, I sat across from a woman whose hands were folded like a cradle. I told her everything, and when I stopped, she didn't rush to fill the silence. Instead, she asked one question that made me shudder. What do you want to be true at the end of this? I had to think about it. For a long time, my answer was only one word: whole. I wanted to be whole again. Next, I called a lawyer. I'd never in my life imagined sitting in an office across from someone who would draw up papers that could end a marriage, that could secure custody, that could divide property. It felt heavy, but the lawyer didn't look judgy or eager to judge. She was practical, efficient. She asked the right questions about finances, about asset ownership, about anything that might affect Mia's and my stability. Sitting there, listening to her talk about next steps, custody, temporary orders, financial protections, made reality feel less like a nightmare and more like a map. Knowing what my options were steadied me. Meanwhile, I started collecting evidence, but not in the conspiratorial, scandal-hungry way tabloids do. I documented dates, messages, times he left. I kept screenshots and wrote down details while they were fresh. Mostly for myself, because when everything spins, memory betrays you and the truth can get lost. I wanted to be able to tell my story and have it stand up under light. It felt less like weaponizing and more like holding a mirror to the truth so that I couldn't be gaslit later. I also leaned into a quiet, stubborn project of rebuilding my life. I went back to work with a new intensity. I volunteered for projects I'd previously turned down. Work became a refuge, a place where I could fold my hands and put my mind to tasks that had nothing to do with heartbreak. It was a small, steady salve for the ego. Friends became the scaffolding holding me upright. Some surprised me with loyalty, others withdrew, embarrassed by the drama. That hurt in its own small way, but I learned who would stay. I had long dinners with a friend named Tara, who would sit with me and let silence fill the gaps where words were too sharp. I made boundaries, gentle but firm. No one who minimized my pain would be given time to explain it away. It was merciless and compassionate at the same time. There's a strange clarity that comes with being the person everyone expects to fall apart. People leaned in, assuming I would crumble. I gave them a faint, steady smile and, in doing so, caught them off guard. That was part of my strategy. Live my life in front of them in ways they didn't expect. Show up at family dinners. Tell a joke when a memory about the baby shower came up. Not to pretend the hurt wasn't there, but to demonstrate that it wouldn't define me. I practiced conversations. Not because I wanted to be cold, but because I wanted my words to mean something when I finally used them. The one I rehearsed most was short and quiet. You chose. I'm protecting what's left. I didn't want to shout sermons. I wanted to show how choices have consequences. At night, When the house was dark and Mia slept, I'd scroll, and not for secrets, but for myself. I started to write, not letters I'd send, but pages that helped me name the way I felt. Writing became a medicine. It didn't stop the ache, but it put a lid on it so I could breathe. There were moments I almost forgave him in some small, foolish way. That's part of the cruelty of love. It urges you toward reconciliation because the brain wants wholeness. But then I'd catch him on the couch staring at his phone in the middle of the night, and the old suspicion would flare. The fact that this had been with my best friend, someone who'd held my hand at my wedding, added a particular sting. I oscillated between sorrow and fury, and somewhere in that motion I found resolve. I also thought about social truth. People who know nothing of relationships like to judge in broad strokes. Just leave, they say. Just forgive, others insist. I wanted to do something that would make the truth visible without indulging gossip. I told a couple of trusted people what had happened, not to start a rumor mill, but to ensure that if the other side tried to rewrite history, some witnesses knew the reality. Not loudly. Quietly. A protective web. There were times I wanted to hurl accusations into the air, to hurt him on the same low level he had me. But I always came back from that impulse with the same meditation. What will this make me later? Will it feel like justice, or like a burned bridge I can't cross back? My answer was that I wanted to build something I could stand in. I wanted my daughter to see a mother who acted with dignity, not a mother who participated in ugliness. So my plan was more like scaffolding: protect what mattered, document truth, strengthen myself, and let consequences unfold naturally. If his career faltered because people he lied to learn the truth, that wasn't my doing so much as the natural course of actions meeting consequences. If friends chose sides, that was their business. What mattered was that I had a clean conscience and the legal protection I needed. I wasn't interested in spectacle. I wanted clarity. The first time I saw Daniel tremble, not with temper but with fear, was when I calmly handed him the separation papers. Not at a party, no dramatic scene. Just me at the kitchen table, the afternoon light on the counter, the papers between us like a bridge. He swallowed and said the word sorry so many times it lost meaning. I didn't shout. I didn't slam doors. I told him, quietly, you made your choice. I'm making mine. Walking away from the life I'd imagined hurt, but it also felt like unloading a heavy coat on a humid day. The weight lifted, and with it came space to breathe, to plan, and to heal. The hours I spent at the park with Mia, watching her chase pigeons, hair catching the sunlight, became my sanctuary. The future I wanted for her required me to be steady, and steady meant deliberate action, calm choices, and a refusal to let my story be written by someone else's lies. So I kept moving forward. Not with a dramatic scoreboard of revenge, but with a steady, stubborn reconstruction of a life built on truth and protection. That, for me, was the real victory. I always say, betrayal makes you feel two things: rage and clarity. At first, the rage blinds you. But once it settles, clarity comes, and you start to see exactly where to strike. And let me tell you, I didn't just want to hurt Daniel. I wanted to dismantle the illusion he built around himself. Slowly, carefully, and piece by piece. I remember standing in front of the bathroom mirror one night, looking at myself. Puffy eyes from crying, shaky hands. But behind all that was a strange kind of fire. Olivia, I whispered to myself, you're not going to beg. You're not going to fall apart in front of him. You're going to make him regret the day he underestimated you. So, I played the part of the forgiving wife. I smiled when he came home late, pretending not to notice the lipstick on his shirt. I laughed at his jokes during dinners, nodded while he lied straight to my face. Inside, though, I was building a storm. I started small. Every time he left his laptop open, I copied files, bank statements, emails, contracts. I didn't even know exactly what I'd need, but I knew knowledge was power. And Daniel? He was careless. He thought I was too broken to notice. The first strike had to be subtle, something that shook his confidence without revealing my hand. One night, we were at a dinner party with his colleagues. Everyone was drinking, laughing, and Daniel, of course, was basking in the spotlight. He loved to play the successful husband with the perfect wife. When someone asked about our upcoming anniversary trip, I leaned in with the sweetest smile and said, "Oh, I didn't realize we were still doing that, Daniel. I mean, between all your late nights and business dinners with Emily, I wasn't sure where I fit in." The room went silent. Forks paused midair. His coworkers exchanged glances. And Daniel's face? Red as a tomato. He tried to laugh it off, but the seed was planted. People started whispering. He hated losing control of the narrative, and I knew that was only the beginning. But embarrassing him wasn't enough. No, I wanted security. I wanted to make sure when I finally walked away, I wasn't walking empty-handed. So I met with a lawyer, quietly, discreetly. And guess what? All those business trips Daniel had written off through his company? Yeah, fraudulent. The emails I copied? Evidence. The money he was funneling into a secret account with Emily? Traceable. My lawyer looked at me and said, "Olivia, this isn't just a divorce case. This could ruin him." And I smiled. Because that's exactly what I wanted. Next came his family. Daniel's mother always adored me, always said I was the best thing that ever happened to her son. So, one Sunday brunch, I casually dropped a bomb. "Did Daniel tell you about Emily?" I asked sweetly, sipping my coffee. "They've been inseparable. It's quite romantic." His mother nearly choked. His father's face went pale. And Daniel? He stammered, trying to cover it up, but the damage was done. His family looked at him differently from that day on. And the friends? Oh, they didn't take long to turn on him either. I didn't even have to say much. Just a well-timed tear, a subtle, I don't know where I went wrong, and suddenly, sympathy was all mine. Daniel's perfect image? Shattered. But the real masterpiece, the part one still smile about to this day, was at his company's annual gala. Hundreds of people, including investors, clients, the people whose opinions he cared about most. Daniel was up on stage, giving his grand speech, all charm and confidence. And when he raised his glass for a toast, I stood up too. Before we all celebrate, I said loudly enough for the microphone to catch, "I just want to thank Daniel for showing me what betrayal really looks like. For teaching me how lies sound when they're dressed up as love. And for reminding me that sometimes, the person you trust most is the one holding the knife." Gasps. Murmurs. All eyes on him. And then, because timing is everything, my lawyer served him the divorce papers right there, in front of everyone. Daniel's face drained of color. He looked like he was about to collapse. Investors started pulling him aside, asking questions. Emily, who was hiding in the corner, bolted out the back door. That was the moment he realized he'd lost me, his family's respect, his friends, and soon, his career. After the gala, Daniel's life started to unravel fast. Clients pulled out of deals, his company faced an audit, and those business expenses he thought nobody would ever catch. Oh, the IRS caught them. I had made sure my lawyer delivered every scrap of evidence at just the right moment. One night, Daniel stormed into the house, his tie loose, his hair a mess. He slammed a pile of papers on the counter. "Did you do this, Olivia?" he shouted. I picked up the papers slowly, pretending to read them. I said. "Look serious. Don't play dumb with me." His voice cracked. For the first time, he looked small. Not the powerful man he thought he was. Just a broken liar watching everything slip away. And me? I just walked past him, calm as ever, and whispered, "Actions have consequences, Daniel. You taught me that." And Emily? Oh, she didn't stick around. The moment Daniel's money started drying up, she was gone. Vanished. Like smoke. One of his colleagues told me they saw her out with another man just weeks later. Daniel begged her to stay, sent her flowers, called her nonstop, but she blocked him. The same way he once discarded me, she discarded him. Karma doesn't always knock. Sometimes it kicks the door down. What I didn't expect was how fast Daniel would unravel emotionally. He started showing up at my door at night, drunk, crying, begging me to take him back. "Olivia, please," he sobbed once, kneeling right there on the porch. "I made a mistake. We can fix this. I need you." And I'll admit, there was a time when those words would have shattered me. When I would have thrown my arms around him and said yes. But not anymore. I looked him straight in the eye and said, "You didn't just lose me, Daniel. You lost the version of me that ever wanted you." Then I closed the door in his face. But my revenge wasn't just about hurting him. It was about reclaiming myself. I redecorated the house. Sold the furniture we'd picked together. Painted the walls. Every corner of that place that used to scream us now screamed me. I even started dating again, carefully, slowly, with someone who actually respected me. And you better believe Daniel noticed. The first time he saw me out at dinner with another man, he lost it. He stormed over, red in the face, demanding, "Is this what you're doing now?" I just smiled, leaned across the table, and kissed my date. It wasn't about love yet. It was about reminding Daniel that I wasn't his anymore, and never would be. The absolute last straw came during the divorce proceedings. We sat across from each other, lawyers at our sides. He looked tired, broken, older than his years. "I never thought you had it in you," he muttered, staring at the papers that stripped him of everything, half the assets, the house, custody arrangements. I leaned in, my voice calm but sharp. "You should have. Because while you were busy building lies, I was watching. And learning. And planning." The judge signed off, the gavel came down, and just like that, it was over. Daniel left the courtroom with nothing but his shame. I walked out with my freedom. Revenge wasn't just about destroying him, it was about rebuilding me. People often ask if I regret it. If maybe I went too far. But here's the truth. Betrayal isn't just about breaking vows. It's about making someone feel worthless. And I refuse to stay worthless. So no, I don't regret it. Not one bit. Because sometimes, the only way to survive betrayal is to become the storm that clears it away. When the dust finally settled, I thought I'd feel empty. I thought revenge would leave me hollow, maybe even guilty. But you know what I actually felt? Peace. Pure, unshakable peace. The house no longer felt like a battlefield. It was mine. Every wall I repainted, every photo I took down, every new plant I brought in, it was like breathing fresh air after years of suffocation. I got a promotion at work, partly because I wasn't carrying Daniel's lies like chains anymore. My friends told me I looked different, lighter, freer. Even my daughter said, "Mom, you smile more now." And that was worth everything. I wasn't the wife who got cheated on anymore. I was Olivia. Just Olivia. As for Daniel, his downfall wasn't quick. It was slow. Painfully slow. First came the money, gone. Then Emily, gone. His reputation in business shattered. He tried starting over, but doors that once opened with a single phone call stayed firmly shut. And I'll never forget the day I ran into him at the grocery store. He looked thinner, his eyes sunken. He wasn't wearing his fancy suits anymore, just an old hoodie and jeans. He tried to smile, but it looked forced. "Olivia," he said softly, "I miss you." And for a second, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. But then I remembered all the nights I cried alone, all the lies he told, all the times he made me feel like I wasn't enough. And I simply nodded and walked away. Because the truth is, karma had already done what I could never do. So here's what I've learned. Betrayal doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to break you. It can shape you if you let it. Revenge wasn't about destroying Daniel. It was about reclaiming myself. About proving to myself that I was stronger than the pain, smarter than the lies, and braver than the fear. I know not everyone believes in revenge, and maybe my way isn't for everyone. But for me, it was survival. It was justice. It was closure. And if you're listening right now, if you've ever been betrayed, abandoned, or left behind, please hear me when I say this. You are not weak. You are not broken. And you are not alone. You don't need to beg for love from someone who doesn't value you. You don't need to wait for them to change. You can rise on your own and build something even stronger. I did. And if I can do it, so can you. So, yeah. My husband thought he could walk away with everything. He thought he could replace me, erase me, make me feel like nothing. But in the end, he lost everything, and I found myself. And that right there is the sweetest revenge of all.